my whole point was, and I don't know if, again, I don't know if I'm being, but my whole point is the actions that Republicans or conservatives took on January 6th. I can't sit here and say that it was in a liberal society, and this is what the founding fathers believed. So I don't know, but
just to be clear, none of the founding fathers would have supported the president trying to use the vice president to overturn the presidential election. Right. I don't know why you keep saying the founding fathers. None of them would have supported that.
But my focus isn't on Trump, because to be honest, if we locked Trump up today, I'd be fine with that. I wouldn't really care. Because my issue again was the conduit was crazy, and the conduit was a madman. Like if the conduit was like, I don't know.
Yeah, the conduit was Trump for tyranny. Yeah, and he's being supported by Republicans that are pro-tyranny. That's the problem, right?
I don't think the Republicans are I don't think most like conservatives are actually educated on what Trump is actually doing, and I think they're just focusing on the like. I think you said something earlier in the chat that I did hear while I was reading, but it was like you said, I feel like Republicans just go based off vibes. I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the problem is that the conservatives are just going off vibes.
Yeah, but the vibe is an authoritarian, tyrannical vibe, which is that the God Emperor Trump should be able to do whatever he wants.
No. Maybe, yeah.
But that's my problem. That's my problem.
But I think it's shifted. I 100% think it's shifted over time. But
that's fine. But that's my issue. That's my problem. I think that's like potentially going to be the destructive thing to the country. That's like
But I don't think. See, I think if you actually talk to like Republicans on the street or Republicans that just go to work, don't sit online all the time, because I don't know if it's like confirmation bias with the whole Nick Fuentes thing, like because I think he's like. But I think if you were to go and talk to like Republicans on the street, you would find none of them actually like and tell them all of these things about Trump. They wouldn't support Trump, and they just try to find a different conduit that was like a better.
No, like, I think they would support Trump, and I think every single part of our political system right now.
Where do you get that?
Literally everywhere, all of the polling data, all of the state legislators, all of the elected.
Nobody I've talked to is ever, and I'm not trying to interrupt you. I apologize, but I've never been polled. My family's never been polled, and I know there are some polls you have to.
Okay, all the polls are fake. How do you describe the
Iowa
results?
I'm not saying the polls
are
fake
too. You just said the polls are fake.
No. I said I've never been like. I'm saying I don't know if the polls are actually.
You don't trust the polls. Do you trust the Iowa caucus?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that Trump right now would win the primaries if every Republican voted in the country?
100%.
Okay. Then why did you just tell me that you don't trust the polls when you're telling me that the outcome of the primary would be exactly what the polls say?
Well, the polls don't necessarily say that they think Trump is a god emperor that should control everything.
No, but at the very least, I mean, that's what Trump says about himself. Trump has said that he is a
god Trump's emperor. An idiot, and everybody says that Trump's an idiot.
Well, what do you say about a group of people that support an idiot? Who are those people?
Because they're supporting. No, yeah.
That's what I'm sorry, but that's what you're saying. Like you keep saying Trump is an idiot. Like listen to yourself. You said yourself that Trump is an idiot, and you said that you'd be all in favor of throwing him in jail and locking him up, but you and all of your party support him. What does that say about you guys? You couldn't find a single other person in the country that could represent you better than somebody that you yourself say should be a convicted criminal? Felon?
No, I think it's kind of just I think it's just taking the best method of taking like the path of least resistance. Trump already was president.
Path of least. Well, you chose Trump over Cruz, over Rubio, over today we had Nikki Haley, Christie, DeSantis.
Yeah, because DeSantis? But back in 2016, this is the thing, is because he was a conduit for a growing
growing anti-liberal, anti-democratic.
No.
Yeah.
No, not anti. What does liberal mean to you? Like liberal, like to me, liberalism not liberalism invites, but if we were to live in a fully liberal society, and this is, but I don't know how familiar you are with like John Locke and stuff, and like, but anyway.
Hold on, just to be clear, anybody that you're citing, none of these people would agree with you. John Locke is not going to say Donald Trump and his supporters are good for democracy or healthy for America. George Washington, none of the founding fathers, every single thing that we created in government for all of these people are to prevent people like Donald Trump. All of these people would hate Donald Trump. None of them would be supportive of him. So I don't know why you would cite any of these people as like.
But would they say that they have a right to go down to the Capitol and not even just like peacefully march? Like, would you concede that they would totally be fine with an armed uprising at like from any group of people at any time.
No, that's dysfunctional.
That's what Thomas Jefferson says word for word. I can.
You cannot pull up something where Thomas Jefferson is saying there should be an armed uprising all the time. I know there's that one quote of like the blood of freedom should be whatever renewed by blah blah blah, and it's fine to have quotes and shit. But there's no way that you can have a functional society or a functional government where every 10 years there's a armed rebellion. It would be fucking crazy. They'd be the Wild West.
He says, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, and I could probably find the whole context of what he's saying. But the whole like concept of I would rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery is I would rather have there be not consistent civil unrest all the time, but if people feel they're wrong, they should have a right to revolt against their government. And it shouldn't be this thing where look at how bad these people are for revolting against their government. Because they revolted against their government, they're terrible people, they're idiots.
We're not talking about like
they support tyranny, they support authoritarianism.
Here's the issue, okay? You've made the mistake of roping yourself in with an incredibly American idea, but the problem is you're doing it in the most anti-American way, okay? Rebellion against an oppressive force, okay? That is a very American concept, and all the founding fathers would support that. Donald Trump is the oppressive force, though, that you are supporting. There's a difference. All rebellions are not made equal. All coups are not made equal. A rebellion against a tyrannical force that doesn't give you representation or isn't listening to the voice of the democratic people that are supposed to be holding them accountable, that would be a rebellion that anybody would support. But supporting a rebellion where you're saying Donald Trump should be the emperor that can unilaterally decide an election, no, these are the people we're supposed to rebel against.
In a sense, yeah, but I feel like not the Democrat, but the establishment pre-Trump perfectly encapsulates all of that still.
No, it doesn't. How?
I mean, I could point out a lot, but they think
point out one thing. Let's do one thing before we'll pivot off of Trump, who you admitted should be in jail, who you admitted is kind of tyrannical. We'll pivot off Trump one time. Give me one action. Give me your best one, not a random one. Give me the best thing that you've got where it's like Democrats did this and this is like as tyrannical as what Trump tried to do, or it's approaching it at least.
Democrat. Okay, so are we talking about Democrat politicians, or can I say Democrat like the Democrat citizenry, like
whatever you want. Democrat citizenry, I guess, maybe.
Like,
sure.
Okay, so I think 100. Okay, and this is just my opinion. I think the whole George Floyd riots and all of the things that happened in 2020 with all of that is equal to what happened on January 6th. I've seen, and I don't know how accurate this is. There could be more information, but I've seen Democrats going into their state capitol buildings exactly like people did on January 6th. I've seen violent. I mean, back in 2016, whenever there was the whole parade and
okay, let's just focus
like
on
there was violent rioting. There was violent rioting.
Sure.
Hold on.
There's violent rioting.
Violent rioting just as much as January 6th. Like if we put the videos next to each other, they'd be the
so
same.
You're telling me, just to be clear, because you're the one that said it, okay? You're telling me that the year's worth of rioting, that whole year, all of that equaled the one day of rioting on January 6th? Are you sure that's the argument I want to go with? Because that makes January 6th sound way worse than any conservative.
No. Well, I'm not saying that they were, but I say and this is my personal opinion on the whole. They can get arrested, they can do all that, but they had a right to riot. They had a right to do all of this.
Hold on, I don't know why you keep saying that. Hold on, you don't have a right to riot by definition.
Not right, but. Well, yeah, they do have a right to
riot. No, you don't. That's why rioting is a criminal charge. You do not have a right to break the law. That is not true by definition.
Okay, you have I don't know.
We can say there might be a moral obligation to protest or riot against maybe unjust laws or something. If you want to say that's fine, but you can't say you have a right to break the law. By definition, it's not a right because it's not protected because it's a criminal charge. But let's say you want to go with it.
People should be allowed to riot. People should be. I should phrase it.
No, they shouldn't be. Why? Why would you want people rioting and blowing shit up? That's not good for society.
I think okay.
You have a right to protest. How about that? Can we do protest? I think you have a right to protest.
I think you have, well, of course you have a right to protest. I think you have a right to not, because saying you have a right to use violence says like kind of, if we're going to use that axiomatically, it kind of extends like you can use violence for anything, but I'm not trying to say that, but for like any issue. But I do believe that there are issues serious enough, and especially now, I think the environment that we're in today is 100% comparable to 1776 and how they felt. I think the American sentiment today is the exact same, and so I don't necessarily. I think there are certain situations in certain time periods.
You're close. Where there are, I actually kind of agree with you. I think the sentiment is very similar in that if Donald Trump would have actually circumvented the democratic process and won, we would be in a 1776 situation, where if you were an actual American patriot, you'd probably have to take up arms to prevent that. That would be crazy. If the president of the United States found a way to prevent, for the first time in U.S. history, the peaceful transfer of power, we would be in a 1776 situation. Thankfully, Vice President Pence didn't go along with the tyrannical plan to literally upend American democracy, so we're not at that point. But to say that Republicans were there because they were unhappy with the outcome of the election, do you think that that was the reason why we rebelled against England, is because we were unhappy with an election result?
No, we were unhappy with taxation without representation, I guess, to use on.
Okay, it wasn't. Yeah, they weren't saying it was because of the fake news wigs on television that were, I don't know, Hillary Clintoning their way through.
They kind of were.
No. Okay. Okay.
They were talking. I mean, they talked about the media all the time, like the whole. It was, and I hate to quote. I love Thomas Jefferson, so I hate to quote him a whole bunch.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Hold on. I don't know why you would ever say that. You don't like any of the founding fathers if you support Donald Trump. None of these guys would be a fan of Trump. They would hate Trump more than any other president, probably, than we've had in U.S. history. Because Donald Trump literally is an authoritarian figure that doesn't like democratic rule of law and doesn't support the institution of any of our electoral processes. Donald Trump is like the worst possible person you could like. And then to also say, oh, I really like Thomas Jefferson. All these people that espouse ideals of like federalist governments and limited governments and all these things. Why would you say, oh, and I like Donald Trump? That's bizarre to me. I don't understand how you could possibly do that.